Hello and welcome back to the channel. Lovely to see you. Thank you for coming along. I'm trying to make my videos a little bit more relaxed and rather than sort of newsy or too aggressive. Now you may say, but I actually quite like the shorter, more to the point ones, and that may be true. But you know, I'm just sort of shaking it up a little bit. I quite enjoy the much more thought-provoking, I suppose, as I record them. Anyway, doesn't really matter. I'm smoking my pipe and it's a beautiful sunny day. I aim to get out soon. I'm editing up. You may have seen that this week we've been away on a farm, and this week we've been lambing, and I'm editing the lambing video, which will be about 30 minutes, and it'll sort of take you through the whole process and really just go through what food is about, particularly animals, the high points and the low points as well. There are a few deaths involved. Anyway, there's a bit of a noisy pipe this morning. Sorry about that. Probably could do with a clean, but that's not the measure of today's monologue. I wanted to highlight something that I understand is going on. Somebody shared with me a web page, which I'll put in the description, and that is that some farmers, not all farmers, but some farmers, and I presume the big farmers that do this sort of stuff, they're going on strike. That's better. That works much better. They're going on strike apparently because they are going to withhold milling flour over Easter. I think it started on the 1st of April. This is a protest, of course, against the measures that the government have taken against farmers. Now, should we all be worried about this? Well, I guess, of course, we should. Should the farmers do this sort of thing, protesting? It's a kind of a protest, isn't it? It's a strike or withholding the product. But the thing is, are they getting at the farm? Are they getting at the government, or are they getting at the public? It's the public that buy the products, and so if they withhold wheat, as they intend to do, so you know things like hot cross buns will not be available, and presumably bread and other things, wheat-based products, then it's the public who are buying it. It's not the government. I'm sure the government probably, you know, source it from elsewhere. They won't have a problem that in their fat houses with their fat income and their who cares about everybody else. It'll be the public that suffer. So I worry that the farmers are going to alienate the public. It's not the public's fault that the government acts the way they do. Now, you might argue it is the public's fault because really and truly, if the public didn't vote for them, they wouldn't be there. Or if the public didn't vote at all, or if the public became not the public, but people and left the jurisdiction, which is something I talk about a lot, and just left the legal jurisdiction and all of those people. And if people did that en masse, the government would have no power over them. You get into the whole legislation, who's legislation for, but let's not go down there at the moment. So it's a conundrum because the farmers feel under pressure and they want to be able to show their might. But I don't think this is the right way to do it, personally. I think if they're going to do anything, and it's presumably these big wheat farmers, these big high industrial ones with large swathes of land that are producing all this arable crop. What would be far better is to not supply the supermarkets and instead start supplying the public directly. And say, okay, we need a certain amount of arable, fair enough, you know, because not everybody is going to want to eat farm fresh foods. Not everybody is wanting to eat healthy, good quality food without petrochemicals. Not everybody perhaps can afford that. People have got so used to having a Netflix account or a reasonable car, and they put food far further down as an importance. I'm sure that if you were in a starving country, food would be right at the top. But it does seem that we've got all our our scale of importance in the wrong order. Some of us, of course, do feel that food is essential because it is what we eat, and we go to farm shops or we try to source real food, stuff with vitamins in, stuff with minerals in, that's fresh and as local as possible. But the majority is still uneducated and think that, because they've been indoctrinated, they think that the supermarket food is healthy. And, you know, it doesn't downright kill them immediately, but if you're not getting the right nutrients and things, or you're eating the wrong kind of foods, you're going to put on weight, you're going to have problems that you need to go and see the GP about, and it's a slow, uncomfortable journey to the box and the grave. And does it need to be that way? No, I don't think it does. However, not everybody can go straight to the farm gate and buy stuff, because the farm shops would be overwhelmed. But if you're unhappy with the government, then really and truly the farmers, instead of just being stuck with the regime that the government want, and I've said this so many times that you get blue in the face, and what's the point of saying it? They're not listening anyway, and why would they listen to me? They shouldn't necessarily listen to me. They've got to come up with their own conclusion. I just offer this out as an opinion piece. It's not an instruction, it's not a demand. But I think the farmers are doing the wrong thing. I think these farmers that supply the supermarkets, yes, they could carry on doing that if they so wish, but they ought to start thinking about who really is eating their products. And if it's the public, if it's General Fred Bloggs and Mary Mullins, then perhaps they should take a field or two and start growing things that we can actually eat, as in vegetables, have some livestock again, give us a bit of mixed farming. Maybe they need to change the way they farm and have their customers local to them rather than these big corporations, because the big corporations at the end of the day don't give a fig about real people. They only give a fig about the bottom line. If the farmers were to make a stand and say, we're not going to be part of your system at all ever again, you the government, your legislation, your inheritance tax and all of these things, actually we're just going to go and serve the customer, which is our local community, I think that would be a far bigger stand than saying, actually everybody's going to suffer because we're not going to let you all have wheat through these big processing plants. And you know, let's put good quality soil back on the land. Let's not pollute everything with insecticides and pesticides and herbicides. Let's put wildlife back on the land. Let's create more farms. Let's encourage more farmers. Let's give opportunities to more farmers. And there are, I mean, this is obvious, although people don't address it, there are people, young people, who need to get into farming. We need young farmers for the future. There are young people who at the moment, because of the school system and the education system and the way everything's going and all of this, do not know they want to be farmers, do not know they want to work with animals, do not know they want to get their hands dirty, because they're not encouraged to do any of that at school. Food, I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Food is the number one thing, food and water is the number one thing we cannot survive without. And we buy mobile phones, we sit in front and play games all day long, we watch Netflix and television programs. We prioritize things in completely the wrong order because we think that it's unimportant or it's boring. But you wait till you haven't got any food and suddenly you become desperate and you don't need to sit and watch a Netflix film. Your car is no longer as important as filling your belly. And that's what people have got everything out of order. And that's where we cannot allow a government to dictate the most necessity of life, and that's food. Yes, it might be useful to have some form of administration to sort out the roads and to give us some guidance on living, or to admin some of the things which are a bit tedious. But food should not be one of them. The government should have nothing to do with farmers and food. Farmers, on one hand, are the custodians of the land, They ought to, in my opinion, be supplying the general public, the communities nearest to them. If their farms are too big, they need to be split, in my opinion, to give other people a chance and have more mixed farming, smaller fields, smaller farms, and loads of them with new young people coming in to be farmers. We don't need greedy people trying to make a big fortune and just spending government subsidies, which at the end of the day is, our money if you're a taxpayer. We don't need that. We need the local community to support the farmers as they once did back in the days, is how I think about it. And yes, people will argue, Richard, nostalgia, it's easy to look back with rose-tinted glasses because what you're looking back is something like in all the old books, the pictures of all of that. It was hard graft and this, that and the other. Yeah, of course, but we do have modern technology now. We do have ways of doing things, but we don't need to scale up so that only one person in 1,000 acres is accessing the land. I mean, it's nonsense. We are creatures of the land. This earth has been given to us by God, if you like, and we should respect it, look after it, and be part of it. We shouldn't be here to destroy it. And the more that we can get those farms back, the smaller farms, and more that we can be involved in the food production and the creative hands-on, like making things with our hands, the better and more soulful the journey for us than living this weird life where you rock up to a supermarket, you fill up with a bunch of stuff which has no health benefits whatsoever, and you're eating chocolates and crisps and all the wrong kind of foods in palm oil, sunflower oil and all of this, and you're getting overweight and you're getting ill and you're sitting on your backside and you're watching Netflix, and then you end up having to take copious amounts of petrochemicals in the forms of medication. What kind of a life is that? If you were going to design a life, is that the kind of life you would like to design? It certainly wouldn't be the life I would be designing. But anyway, have a look and see what you make of it. This is just my opinion. People love to hate, don't they? They love to hate because you're sharing an opinion, because you're daring to put your face up above the parapet and say, I'm not sure that this is the right way of doing things. Maybe there's another way. Let's have a look and see. But some people, and I don't give a monkeys about them, of course, but they'll be the ones who also will be hungry and wailing if there is no food. I'll leave the link in the description. Anyway, have a lovely Saturday. I hope that hasn't marred your Saturday. I personally think we'll get through all this. This is just an awkward time that we're having to go through. And sooner or later, more people will wake up and realise actually the kind of democracy that we have is not so democratic as people thought. It's more like mob rule, and it's the mob in the Houses of Parliament and the House of Commons and all of that seem to be ruling. And perhaps we need to find a different way. And I think, all of this is part of that machinations to a better future. That's my feeling. So let's hope that unfolds in the way it ought to. Anyway, until next time, thanks for watching.